Hello everyone and welcome back to RWB International. We are back again week after the start of our new series, Clash of the Warriors. And after previous week's race we had with the Aston Martin V8 Vantage in its GT3 spec. Now we are back for the GT4 part of the series. As we know, previous week the race at Spa gave us Jake Moore as the winner of that event by a commanding win for him that was there. And yet again we can see him on pole position for this race again. But alongside him it won't be RWB Tyrion as it was last week, but this time it's a new name. It's Ollie Girton. In second place also Tyrion is not so far behind, just in P3 there, looking onto the front row. Also with Door finishing out in P4. This is the rest of the top 10 being Kieran Royling, Evoplate, Daniel Barnett, our own Godzilla, Impossible and Adam Sharp. Just few seconds remaining until the start of the formation chicane this time. As you can see, we are at the circuit Zolder. For some reasons, probably because GT4s are the better suited class for this track. Everyone is on their way on towards the start-finish straight. And Zolder, it is tough to overtake around here, so the start will be crucial, but you don't want to make a mistake. We have 23 cars, no, even more than that. So it's gonna be tough for everyone to put themselves into the order. As the cars are moving, we are racing at Zolder, and it is a pretty good start for Jake Moore. Good launch allows him to jump in front of Ollie Kirton. Meanwhile, I think that would be Doe trying to sneak his way up into P3, currently alongside with RWB Tyrion. Through the right-handed, they go side by side. Doe will have the better lines also for another corner. Possibly he finally manages to get past and is up to P3 with a great launch that he had. Behind them it's still more fights going on, as it looks like Godzilla has been alongside with someone that looks to be Daniel Barnett probably. Will he try to go around the chicane maybe, but there's some car driving down the inside what looks to be Adam Sharp probably. Yeah, Sharp taking opportunistic line into the chicane. They're side by side going to the other one on the left hand side. You can see Godzilla. Does he have the power on the brakes? He does, but that will be a small overshoot. Meanwhile, Sharp has been tugged probably around by Sieblom. Through that, Adam has to gather the car and somehow get back onto the track, but there seems to be a lot more troubles with other cars. Yeah, everyone just scattered around. Oh yeah, a little bit of damage that we can see and lots of accidents that have happened there, surely. And I went full first few corners. So we see someone missing the braking point. What's that? That's the 52 and he has collected someone else. And that would be RWB FX. Yeah, that is FX who has managed to take... that would be Wayne Bennett? Probably not, it's not Wayne Bennett, but he has taken a victim with himself. And oh boy, things have happened on the lap. But meanwhile, Jake Moore, they've let him into the lead yet again. So probably just say goodbye to Jake. It's fight for the second place, and find it is Ollie Kirton fighting off with Doe. Ollie Kirton, a classic name in the RWB series, with the classic shiny yellow and black Kraken racing cars. As he takes a lot of curve that unsettles the car pretty heavily, and the door, he finds the door open. Yeah, I'm gonna try not to bore you with the bad jokes this soon into the race. But Doe gets past Ollie Kirton rather fast. And this is something that has not happened in the previous race. I think it was both of them as well, fighting off. I think it was, yeah, we had Doe fighting there. As we also see Tyrion It was, I think, Dor and Tyrion last race fighting off with each other while trying to chase Jake more. And Jake then just managed to pull a gap and run away with the race. It looks like there might be something to be said about it. Let's see what kind of pace does Dor have. So we have Tyrion slightly running wide through the chicane, and that allows Aaron Roiling to get a run on him. Roiling now on the outside for turn 1, but if he can get a good line through there might be a chance. Into the second corner, Roiling tries to go around the outside. Will he do it? He will have the more flowing line. Now he is inside for the next 2 corners. And that will be a crucial position to be in. And just simply as written in a book, get the line and get past, and that's Tyrion losing the position down to P5. Now he is running slightly wide, and there is not much grip on the grass. I can confirm that. There is more and more things going on. Tyrion does not seem to be able to get into the rhythm fast enough during the start of this race. As you can see, it is a long one today again. And Tyrion, he will have to get into the rhythm fast because there is still more and more cars lining up behind him. And he could find himself on a back foot. Oh, there is a little bit of switch from Ember plate through the chicane, Zolder being the chicane heaven. You know, it's rather easy to just put a foot wrong around here over the curbs, and you're just a passenger, not a passenger, but you're just gone at that point. There's not much you can do, and the car just decides to go. Meanwhile, there is more fighting going on as I was trying to go through the incident that he had and try to find a replay or something of some sort. It's Roiling fighting off with Tyrion, so Tyrion probably starts to find a little bit of speed. And he goes beautifully around the outside into turn 2 around Aaron Roiling. And that's a good job, well done for Tyrion. After the previous race we saw him get into P2, and that would say that he might have a lot of speed. More and more drivers try to go side by side into the first chicane of Zolder. But Tyrion, maybe now that he has gotten ahead of Roiling, might start to chase the podium position guys. As wide goes there, that would be, I think that's our plate, yeah, just going wide onto the dirt, onto the gravel. Now he's on the outside of Godzilla and also what would be Nate Newcomer. Nate has the inside for the next corner. Roiling or Evo Plate will have to back down probably through the corner, but he keeps nicely around the outside. Let's see how they go side by side for them into the chicane. Maybe Nate can hang it around. No, just decides to slot behind Emil and continue with his races. He has Pinpoint closely behind him in the classic RWB colors of the Aston Martin. As you have noticed, all of the drivers are forced into the same car for this championship for the race. And it brings out a little bit of spiciness to the fact that they just have to learn the car. It's not going to something that, you know, like there is nothing to fall back to in terms of car, just your knowledge of it and of the track. The moves being done, there looks to be a Pinpoint fighting off with Carlos Bolanos, probably behind him. Mr. Bolanos almost dive down into the chicane. Look from the rear wing of Pinpoint. Let's see the Aston Martin in the blue and orange. Just behind him, Bolanos tried to dive down into the chicane, which is rather opportunistic to say so. There is not much space for two cars to go side by side through there. But they managed to somehow make it through. And Pinpoint seems to be holding him up slightly at this point. Volamos just showing the nose, showing that he is there, maybe trying to make Pinpoint a little bit more nervous, a little bit scared of the car behind. And I want to start finish straight. Let's see, Volamos not close enough to have any kind of chance to get by. And Pinpoint being able to hold it on as best as he can. But we have someone there, that's Newcomer. Newcomer probably was in some kind of accident. Has lost him plenty of time. What is happened there? Oh, there's Pinpoint just going off into the weeds. Can he finish? Oh, that's a crunch. That will be a big time repair. He tries to get out of the way of everyone. What was that? Let's see, this one, what's happened? There's Nate after probably what looked to be a small excursion. There is Pinpoint on the right hand side. And it was a weird accident, to say so. I don't know, probably Pinpoint just went back to the racing line and the racing line was not clear. Yeah, that has lost him lots of time and he's back off track again. Seems like he's just trying to limp the car back into the pit lane. Let me see that. Let me see through the inside if we can see what is happening there. Nope, that's the wrong car. Yeah, there is people. Oh yeah, you can see that the steering is totally bent on the Aston Martin. The collision has not done him any good, and yeah, the race is gonna be a tough from this point on. And tough jumps over the curbs are also for Jake Moore, currently leader by 2.6 seconds, so Jake looks to just jump into the rhythm and keep driving the consistent laps as he did the week before at Spa. And the way that he won that race, didn't have to look behind because nobody was there. Just lights to flag and out he went. Basically unchallenged apart from the first lap when he almost lost the lead. But almost is not full enough. Everything looks rather calm behind him. Dor and Kirtan with respectable gap between each other of about a second-ish. Let's look further down the grid where the action is happening. We see a flag just poking his nose to the inside of Dale Keller. He tried to maybe just show the presence of the car, show the move. We also see Emil Sjöblom there in front of them, so it looks to be a tough time also for Sjöblom as we have someone, the number 17, Javier Evgeny, stopped on the side of the track. And it's a weird place to be stopped at. Let's see. There was fighting with someone behind him. He's quite on his own, and did he just dip the wheel in the... No, he just pulled away to the side of the track and stayed there. One would say there probably some problems back at home. Probably had to just run away from the computer for something. You know, these things can happen, and I don't think we have him anymore, yeah. That would be a DNF for him, for Javier, and that's gonna hurt for him, but this is how it is. Meanwhile, Jake has lost a little bit from his gap, just 2.5 seconds. Meanwhile, Dor has made his gap slightly bigger, so though might have the speed right now over Jake Moore, the resident alien of RWB, not going as fast right now. It'll be interesting to see what happens if Joe has enough speed to chase down Jake and maybe attempt to pass him for the lead. If you're looking at Jake, we have not seen many fights from him usually around because there just weren't people to fight him usually. When you see him on a track, you just accept your fate, accept the reality that he's just gonna fly off into the sunset and stay there. You know, when you have the skill and you put in the time into the thing like sim racing, the results are gonna be there. So probably all of the commitment from Jake is working out in a good result for him. And someone looking for a good result will be RWB Rider, currently chasing down Patrick Peck in the 991 Aston Martin for the positions inside of the top 10. I can see Rider just jumping a little bit over the curbs, trying to shorten the track as much as possible, but you have to be careful about those. Going around Zolder, you just can't jump the curbs, and all of a sudden you find out you have 3 track warnings with just 20 minutes of the race already behind. And you still have an hour and a half to go. It's not so easy to do. I think we could expect some penalties to just appear. Further down the field, back in P28, Kevin Shepard, currently trying to chase down to be Wayne Bennett in the number 2 car in front of him. Rather looks like he was trying to defend. But other than that, in the lead, looks like Jake is still at rather good pace. It just keeps the gap at those around 2 seconds. It climbed a little bit at this point. So Jake probably still has a little bit in the tank to just go faster at any point that he wants. And again today the interesting thing will be the tires. So who changes the tires, who does not? As we heard the last time around at Spa, some drivers deciding to change the tires. Just because the track is quite harsh, and you have lots of fast corners, lots of strong braking points, so you take quite a lot out of them. But you also had people who just decided to not change tires, sacrifice the grip for the immediate gain. So we see the 46 of Pinpoint just being stationary out of the pit lane. That's a weird position to be, he managed to himself to get out. But it does not seem like he has enough power to just continue driving. Back to the lead, not much is changing right now. Meanwhile, Nate Newcomer has found himself behind Patrick Peck. Seems like Rigel has lost a little bit of that gap. So probably Patrick has managed to get a little bit of speed and pull away from Rigel and has gotten then passed by Nate, but Nate is holding on closely behind him. Definitely will not be happy about losing that position, and he'll try as much as he can to just regain it back. into the P8, maybe chase down Carlos Bolamos that is in front of them. You can see it through the inside of the blue Aston Martin, number 97. You could see there a little bit of slide as he went over the curbs. And that's just one infuriating thing about the Zolder. The curbs, they just can spit you out so easily. But looks like they has gotten a little bit better run through turn 1, but there is nothing you can do if you are not already side by side with the other car. But it's just the pressure that he can now apply onto Nate Newcomer. So, just force himself into the mind of Nate. Maybe there will be a smaller mistake and he can capitalize on that. But yeah, Nate definitely is all over the back of Patrick Peck. Maybe through here it looks like he got quite a good run, good enough to at least facilitate something. Maybe an opportunistic dive. At this point he tries to look down inside, but nothing has happened there. We meanwhile had Daniel Barnett on an excursion, I think. So let's see what happened here as he went over the curb and oh, the car just got a little bit of unsettled. He just grazed the wall, slightly trying to turn it around. But it looked like the car just bottomed out. You have to excuse me for a bit of tiredness. It looked like the car just bottomed out on the apex of the corner and slid away from him. We return back to Nate Newcomer. Still on the back of Patrick Peck, so being able to keep Newcomer behind, even though he got past Nate some time ago. But Nate looks like he has a little bit easier time when he has someone to chase, you know, some benchmark, some reference point that is the car in front of you. It can make your life a little bit easier. And the big jumps over the chicane. I think you could hear that little bit small lift from Nate. He just didn't want to get the run on Patrick in front of you, because then he was just gonna put himself into the bad position when you are close but not close enough to even do something. And you can see the car behind in the mirrors. RWB Rachel. And Nate not in a easiest position to be for him. As you know, he keeps looking onto the back of Peter Peck. But he also needs to keep his mind occupied with just think about it. Where are you gonna go? What are you gonna do? If he finds himself on a bad piece of road, he's just gonna come under pressure, and it looks like pressure it is right now. He runs so slightly wide, and this gives opportunity to Rigel to draw alongside. Stay in front at the inside line for the chicane, so I don't. Rigel would have to have a glorious braking performance to get even alongside Nate for the corner. Everything currently just stays as it is, as taking different lines compared to each other when it comes to that chicane. Both of them going at the relatively same speed from there. And when it comes to relative speed, Ollie Kirton has chased the door slightly down the gap that was around the second and a half. Now it has been just shrunk down towards half a second. Doors still has Jack Moore inside. That's gonna be a good thing for him, at least when you see the car that you want to get by. It is that small mental help that you can use. And he will need a lot of help looking at this right now. It's Ollie Kirtan not completely all over him, you could say, but he is there slightly faster than though. Where do you make the move? The Zolder is so tight, so twisty, you can't even get up to speed properly. To even try to get by, you really have to rely on the car in front making a mistake and you having the best run you could possibly have through the corner. But the Kraken engineering team driver will definitely think of something that could give him the edge over Door during this race. Maybe an undercut or an overcut could be on the cards for him. But looking at the track, you definitely want to have as much cleaner as possible, so pitting now will just drop you down into the grid as we have someone spinning around. Oh, the classic number 69 RWB Charger. Our man Charger with a small hiccup through the chicane. Let's see. Ooh, wildly through the curbs, and yep, he has found the wall. The Tugatronic racing crew probably won't be so happy about that. Last time around we had Charger run out of fuel, so probably a lesson to learn and to better up on this time. But yeah, the fix that the crew will have to do, they will not be happy about it, I'm sure, as he goes into the pit lane right now. We have another car. It's under the yellow flag that looks to be number 9. 9 or 8. What's car number 9? Ah, that will be flag. And what is flag done now? As you can see the heavy damage on the front of the Aston Martin. Was it just over the curb? And that's a big oof for a flag right there. Oh, that's gonna take some time to fix. You can see FX just passing by all of the RWB higher ups in some kind of problems for this race, but just look at that front end. I'm not an expert when it comes to like engineering and cars, aerodynamics, but even I can see that that's not gonna help your handling or anything with the car at this point. I think we could expect Flag to just dive into the pit lane as soon as possible. Technically, you can get the car home from here. Probably evident from Charger going to the pit lane, so yeah, Flag will probably have to just go in and get it fixed as soon as possible. Well, meanwhile, not much has changed around here. Only getting still that half a second behind Door, so looks like the speed difference between these two is not large, at a similar pace for both of them. But Jake has pulled away a little bit, so the gap up to 3 seconds right now. And maybe Jake's starting to show us what was there the race before. Maybe not wanting to have the fighting group that are these two behind him so closely. Other moves that have happened, the newcomer has let Rigel somehow past, so Nate is losing a little bit of speed right now in the mid part of the race. Let's see, we have this big train that is formed around here that I've been looking at for some time. It looks to be Jack Camoletto, Madal, Iron Sion, and Kevin Shepard all really close together as Odin Sion goes really deep into the happy and almost look like he's gonna take Mad Al with him on a field trip. But no trips happened. He still keeps really close behind Mad Al. Instead of attacking now, looks like it's more of a defense for Sion. You can see Kevin Shepard really close to the back of the Aston. Maybe slightly looking around, maybe thinking about where can I get past of him. That's the other part of the racing, just learning about your opponent. Learning what is going on, how can I get past him, where is he weak, where is he strong. And there are gonna be plenty of places around here where you can be stronger than your opponent, but are you strong at the correct place? You can be faster through the high speed section, but it's not gonna be worth it if you can't get any close on the slow speed corners. There's plenty of dust being thrown around what looks to be debug. Oh, we have another spinner around there. It's Wayne Bennett, and what has happened to Wayne around here? At that place, being alone, I would say probably just dipping the wheel onto the... Yep. Just a little bit of oversteer on the exit, dipping the wheel onto the grass, and that's all the car needed to just fly away and into the wall like this. And these kind of incidents have been quite prominent throughout this race, as you can see. Wayne only now getting back onto the track, so big time loss for him. And lots of people having these small silly mistakes. It might be the nature of the track being so narrow, so twisted that you have to be on the ideal racing line all the time, and here we have our first drive-through penalty of the evening. I would hope that it's the last, but it's Miko Sky getting themselves one. Luckily, at least this time around, the pit lane is not 2 minutes long like it was at Spa with a full endurance pit lane. So it won't hurt as much, but still it's not gonna help. As on screen right now, you can see Adam Sharp trying to get by Sergio Lemk? Sergio Lemk? Forget how to talk. Just a small drink to help. To keep the mouth going. It's like an engine, it needs some lubrication. You can't be talking all the time and just go with the mouth dry. You just gotta seize your mouth and then you're gone. What you gonna do? As Miko goes for the pit lane, serves the penalty, comes out in P19 just behind Damien Wilk. Let's see how high they can get. Adam Sharp was looking like he might be onto an attack, but it's by just a couple of mistakes and lost the touch with the car in front of him. But it doesn't look like Jack Cavaletto is losing touch with the car in front of Debug. In the top 20's position. Well, so is Cavaletto, but it's always nicer to have the number 1 in front at the beginning of your numbers than number 2. It's definitely just a psychological boost that you can get with a different starting number of your position, and it always helps a little bit to just motivate the driver to, okay, I'm in the top 20s, the top teens. Let's go maybe get a little bit more. And Jack will definitely want to get past D-Bag at any given opportunity. But you can see both of them with a slight bit of damage onto the car. At this point it might be only our leaders that have the car in perfect conditions, as everyone has been in some sort of fights with the others. Just a little bit of taps, a little bit of argy-bargy, that's all, with the tin cans that these cars are. And you can see a little bit of dust being picked up by Debug. And that's all she wrote, that's all Kamalato needed, Debug losing a lot of speed through that. And just open opportunity for Kamalato to get by. But now he will have to dig deep, as he has 8 seconds to catch up to just get towards Damien Wilk. So that will be definitely a tough one, and it will be a long race for him to just gain back all of the time. We are looking through the eyes of Mad Owl in this bigger group that we have right now. In around the P20s, 21, 22 and 23 of Keller, Al and Sean. It still remains pretty similar between them. Doesn't seem like Mad Owl can put up any major attacks, although saying that, Keller has had a really bad run through the chicane. This gives Mad Owl the opportunity to at least draw alongside. Maybe force Keller into bad position, bad line through the corner. Keller manages it nicely, holds on to the inside line. He keeps up the speed, the important part. Keeping up the speed in these cars is all you have to do. If you have the momentum pushing you out to the corner, then you are golden at that point. You can see the different lines each driver takes through the chicane. Someone with a later turn in, someone with the earlier turn in, someone takes more curb, and all of them basically coming out with the same gaps that they have came in. Even though they've taken different racing lines, all of them have their why and why not. Looking through this, a nice small group has formed around here. To be Christian Barros holding up Emil Silblom and Damien Wilk just all looking there from the distance. And I think Emil has had quite a bad race, yeah, after he was part of the top 10 after the qualifying, but he fell quite heavily from P9 to P17, dropping 8 positions. But it's not alone in it, also Godzilla, who we saw just shoot through the gravel on lap 1. Also with a big loss, and yeah, Miko Sky after the drive-through penalty. It was another big position loss for them. But it is currently Emil Schiblon trying to salvage what he can from this race, but he looks to be kinda stuck behind Barras. With no way around. Maybe it would be time for Emil to think about pit stop at this point, About an hour to go. And the traffic is starting to come up anyway. with this speed, both of them have allowed Damien Wilk to just catch up and gain on them. But if Silblum has a hard time getting past, I think Wilk will have even a harder time. Although knowing Emil, you can pressure him into a little bit of mistake, a little bit of crack if you are really good at it. But definitely a fast man to be feared if you see him behind you. We are on a visit to Daniel Barnett, the EMR Super Racing driver. Looking onto the top 10 positions for the P5 currently being held by Jörn Royling. Royling trying to hold on as hard as he can to the position. But Barnett looks to be speedy at this point. Maybe taking a little bit too much speed through the corner, you could see the understeer even through the screen, You can feel it on the wheel. At that you could even see the car just not wanting to turn in. Other than that, but looking at the top, not much has happened there. Ollie Kirton was pressuring though, but he just had to back up of the pressure. Meanwhile, that was and it's a drive-through penalty for Barnett. I was about to say Royling with a big leap over the curbs. But Barnett has managed to be a naughty boy a little bit, and that's another drive-through with hour to go. Yeah, I think that's not the last one we are gonna see today. So yet again, Barnett will have to make the small unscheduled visit back to his pit crew, or at least go around and wave to them saying hi as he comes, right now comes into the pit lane. And that one always hurts, that one's always bad. That will be at least a little bit of happiness to Adam Sharp and Sergio Lemke. The free position for both of them. Oh, as Adam tries to go for an opportunistic move this time around. Got a much better run through first corner. A little bit of slingshot out there, dives down the inside into the second turn and hit the inside line, but Lemke tried to hang it around the outside and he succeeded at that. But at this corner there is just no way around. Sharp has the line and Lemke just had to pull back and slot him behind Sharp, but it was a beautiful move by Sharp, taking Lemke by surprise. At that point Lemke had nothing to do, he couldn't move the car because Sharp was already there. You can't just force him onto the curb on the inside because that's just gonna end up badly for both of you. And Sharp is now up into P11. Beautiful move by him. But now there is quite a gap. There is quite a gap to this man. Emil Plate. And these around here have been linked together for a really long time at this point. Newcomer Rigel Peck, we saw Newcomer up in the top 10s of a position, but top 5 even, I think that he was somewhere around there, and now he just fell down back to P9. And no one of this group seems to have any relevant pace advantage. All of them just there. just about following each other. I wonder if someone goes into the pit lane, if something changes, if someone just not loses the talent or just starts to make a little bit of mistakes, because at this point you just get used to it. You see the cars in front of you, you see when they turn in, so you just get that small muscle memory of I turn in at this point, at this marker, but also I turn in after that car has gone through there with like a second gap. So, and then the car is no longer there and you are like in a new world. And some other things happening behind. You see it from the onboard of Kevin Shepard, that's Audun and then Mad Al. That looks to be Dale Killer. That will be Dale Killer, who has let Mad Al by somehow. So heavy on the brakes for Suen, almost running to the back of Keller. Suen was maybe trying to intimidate Keller a little bit. Then he just was there on the inside and you're just trying to back out because you see that the gap is not there and you don't want to leave your car in the way of other drivers. So that now Mad Al is gone. He has managed to get past Dale Killer. Meanwhile, Suen has his hands full of Kevin Shepard. Shepard tried to show the line, tried to show the nose down the inside of Suen. But nothing materialized out of that, although it looked like he had quite a good run from the rear wing of Keller. But we are back to the point where we found these four. Let's see from the inside. I can see already Mad Al starting to just ease a little bit of gap. He will have to just create a gap more or less, but most importantly he will have to chase down Debug and make that gap as small as possible. And it's gonna be tough for Mad Al, The gap is quite large at this point, but still an hour to go. Anything is possible to happen. Looking at the town, we can see Flag finally in the pit lane. And so looks to be Rigel at this point. From the bigger group that was around P10, Rigel decided to pull the plug and be the first one to dive in and take at least the required fuel. Maybe also the tires. It's very, very close was there Sien to the back of Keller. And Keller spins the car around a little bit. We saw the same thing from Flag. And Keller must be really, really happy. Well, happy. Just relieved that he didn't touch the wall, because that car was pointing into it 9 times out of 10. This time it was the 10th one where he just somehow managed to keep it all together and survive that one. He didn't hit the wall, but still lost 2 positions. And that definitely is gonna feel bad, Kinda unforced mistake, because, Sien was not close. He was close, but he wasn't immediate threat or immediate problem. But this is something that's you have to beware of most of the time, just the unforced errors. More and more people are coming down into the pit lane. And meanwhile, Pinpoint has somehow managed to find the keys from the car, start it up and get out from the pits. Now it's Sion and Shepard as another drive to penalty has popped up. Looks to be in 25th Fran Diaz. Aston Martin racing driver. And yeah, here that was definitely the chicane, just hopping a little bit too much over the curbs. And that's all she wrote for it. Let's see what happens here with Odinson, if he can make a gap to Shepard. Or will Shepard start to close him in at any point, you know? Sion may have been just slowed down by Keller. Just could not get past, and that allowed Shepard to close him down. So now it's time to just push. Push and go as fast as you humanly can. Oh, and this will be important. Door comes in from the second place. And when does he feed out, or where does he feed out? That's gonna be important, because if he has clean air, that will be good news for him, but if he somehow comes out in the traffic, it's gonna be really good news for Oli Kirten, who was just within the 2 seconds. You can see on the map just small group of cars coming. They will probably just get past by the time Door returns and goes back onto the track. The pit stop has been done. Door is just now currently rolling, slowly rolling towards the pit exit line. Disengages the pit limiter, and he has managed to get his overdrive through. Well, that's gonna throw Spanner into the works as he just comes out into the fight between Flak and Madal. Although it looks to me that Flak is already should be lapped at this point. Somehow I would say that he has to be in P29, and still the car looks to be broken. Yeah, that damage has not been fixed by Flak. As Madal just takes the jump as hard as he can. So probably the damage is not big enough, or does not, or Flak does not feel that it's bad enough to pit. But now it will be Door soon enough to come into the pit lane again. And just he'll have to go and get the drive to penalty out of the way. Always feels bad. Other that feels bad is probably Emil Sjöblom right now, as he's been looking on the rear end of Barros for the best part of half an hour even. That looks to be Damien Wilk who has gotten by now. Damien was in the pit lane with quite a lengthy stop of minute 45. But Sjöblom now is really close to Barros. Maybe he will try to go down inside, but there is a little bit of room. He was looking towards the outside, but did not have the overlap, anything that would help him to at least scare the opponent a little bit. And Emil will just have to still get back, stay behind, and think of something that's gonna help him. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the sound and the track through Eyes of Impossible. And interesting part now for their fight. So Barros, he decided it's time to go into the pit lane. Emil decides to stay out and continue for longer, so maybe there will be a little bit of time now to gain for Emil. There is a big gap in front of him of 4 seconds, although traffic will play its part right now. But if he can just stay out and pump in those fast laps, those consistent laps, that might be the way to get by its Barros at some point. In other news, Jake Moore still doing Jake Moore things. Just being in the lead, being fab of about 9 seconds. Yeah, that's on average of 10 seconds in front of Ollie Kirten, and Kirten does not possess the speed right now to at least close it down a little bit to Jake Moore. Another car behind Tyrion, who has gone into the pit lane. It will be interesting where he comes out, because I think we had someone already in the pit lane. Who it was? That was Dor. Yeah, that was Dor. So let's see where Dor is right now. Oh wait, no, Dor had the drive to penalty. So yeah, Dor is now out of the contention for everything. So for now, Jaren Roeling inherits the third place also in the land of nobody, in the middle of nowhere, as all of them are in at least the top 5. Just too big of a gap in front, too big of a gap behind, and nothing else happening. Just the lap traffic making your race a little bit more interesting. The car behind being Peter Peck. And also Nate Newcomer in P5, but should be then in P6 after the pit stops have happened. Depends on the speed of the stop. Definitely does. And that's another penalty that has been dished out. Dale Kelleher. So the last race that we had, it was quite clean, quite good, not many big things happening. But it's just Zolder, catching all of the drivers half asleep. You have to cut the course quite heavily to gain time. If you cut too much, there's the price you have to pay. As more people are coming into the pit lane, Peter Peck and Nate Newcomer both taking the mandatory stop. And the drivers don't like me too much, because they don't give me much to work for. But Emoplay does now fight for P15 with him and Miko Sky. Let's go through the eyes of Emoplate, and that's gonna be a rather easy one as Sky just goes wide onto the grass. That just gives the opportunity, the free position for Emoplate. Already you can see the second place car, Ollie Kirten, being ready behind on his hot lapping session that it is right now for most of the drivers. At least when you just don't have anyone to spare with, to at least be closely with each other. But these two, they have changed positions, but they still are on similar lap times. That will be Rigel and Lemke. You can see a big jump there for Rigel over the first chicane. And Lemke has the opportunity now around. Maybe to slide down the inside into the DMs of Rigel, but it will be a tough task for him, as also Nate Newcomer has found himself up into these places. So after the pit stops that these two, Lemke and Rigel, had quite faster than Nate Newcomer. Okay, they did Nate losing what appears to be about 4 seconds in the pit lane. And that's quite a lot of time you can lose there, even though the stops are long. Every second that you lose is really important and can play a big part in the outcome of your race. And that's the strategical game that you are playing, that everyone is playing with each other. When you go to the pit lane, how much do you dare to, let's say, brake for the braking marker for the entry? You know, you might gain like half a second, maybe second if you are really good. But the prices are high if you overshoot. And you know, at that point you can completely destroy your own race within just 50 meters. But it's, you know, part of the game, and if you get into the pit lane, then how long are you not moving? You know, in the endurance races mostly, the car that is gonna win the race is the car that spends the least amount of time in the pit lane. And that's the truth, you know, when you are in the pit lane, you are not on a racetrack. You are not going fast. Unless you are in the 1980s when speed limits were still just a joke that you told the lads when you had a pint of beer. And since then, after a few years, you know, the speed limits in the pit lane are just a vital part of the racing. You know, you could not imagine the cars going 180, 200 through the pit lane, and you're just walking around there with some papers that you are going to give to the pit crew or someone having a pit stop, and the car just zooms by. Looking at that, that looks like a craziness. Yes, there is some fights going on here. Emil Sjöblom, who has been through the pit lane with a quite fast stop, as he also had in Spa. So it's probably Emil not taking the tires yet again and has found himself just behind the door. So Emil playing the shortest pit stop strategical game. Might be good for him. So we have someone that looks to be flagged yet again. He just with some troubles. And there is another car with him, so probably it takes two to tango and we have more and more troubles in and around the back of the circuit. Shadows are playing games right now with me. But playing games we do right now, and it's a strategical game, it's a tactical game. Then is Emil Silva now trying to defend himself as much as he can from Nate Newcomer. Probably Emil not deciding to not take tires yet again, and maybe you could see the reasoning behind it, Zolder. You know, it's not a track with many fast corners, there is not many corners that would punish the tires as much as other circuits like Spa, like Kyalami, let's say, or Imola, you know, the tracks that really take lots of beating onto the tires. I don't know, you still can feel the difference in the new tires and the old tires though. And Emil will have to work really hard right now to keep his position, but Nate Newcomer just sails by down the inside into the second corner. Just rips the position out from Emil. He now has also Rigel and what looks to be Lemke. Oh. Yeah, both of them, Rigel and Lemke. Now behind him, and how long can Emil hold on at this point? Because it seems like the drivers that have taken new tires have the advantage that you can see just being able to carry much more speed through the corners and having more stable car. Just look at it, you can see that Lemke just at every corner being closer and closer, almost pushing Emil around some of the apexes, hoping to go as fast as he can. And another drive-through that we saw, that looked to be Iron Simcox. Oh yeah, lots of people getting into troubles for some reasons, if it is track limits or just speeding in the pit lane. Looks like Emil has stabilized a little bit at this point. That seems to be working rather nice for him after the tires have gone up and heated up yet again. That might also be the part of it, you know, going to the pit lane, you lose the tire temperature, you lose the pressures. So at that point you just have to survive for that lap, just so everything gets back to the optimum temperatures and pressures. Then you can start really driving aggressively and hard on the tires. We still have cars that are yet to go to the pit lane, both leaders Jake Bohr and Jeren Royling. Oli Kirte meanwhile has already taken a trip into the pit lane, but as I look back, there's a mistake from Emil Sjöblom that gives up the position to Lemke. And now maybe also Sharp or Rajal, let's see, Rajal has the inside line for the next corner but decides to back out, maybe trying to dive down the inside. He could take the car in front of him with him for a small spinning dancing session. But there's another position gone for Emil Sjöblom. I'm just thinking he probably didn't take tires. That looks to be for sure right now. And how much can he survive over this then? And if he can survive, is it even gonna be worth it? And the train conductor has arrived to the station of Zolder. Emil already after he came out. And he would say that would be it, maybe just one more car that is behind you and that's all, but other cars have joined the party. By the looks of it, it's Adam Sharp and all of them want a slice of this cake, the Swedish layered cake of Emil Sjöblom that is there. There for the taking, but you have to take it with your hands. And I think we saw small troubles for the number 2 machine. I cannot find the car for some reason. Yeah, another troubles for drivers around the circuit. And after the position loss for Emil, looks like things have calmed down around here. Although, as I said, he just drops the wheel into the gravel, loses lots of momentum. Let's see who will be the bravest one. Braking now for the chicane. Emil has the inside, but now Rigel has to cut across the circuit a little bit. That slows him down massively, and Sharp now has the opportunity, goes down the inside, and maybe even Peck can just snip down the inside. Well, more like outside it will be right now, as Rigel will have that inside line, and he keeps the position, but that's also one lost for him. After an opportunity that was there, but Sjöblom had the line, and I don't think that was a reality where it would work out. Meanwhile, Peck goes for it. Goes for an opportunistic move. On the inside of Rigel, but the Rigel is holding it around the outside. Peck just maybe trying to scare Rigel a little bit off the road. And you can right now see both of the fights happening at the same time. Adam Sharp is now currently pursuing Emil Silberblum as hard as he can. Maybe the dive down the inside into here could be an opportunity, but no, Sharp is not close enough. But we have seen a couple of those moves where drivers have just taken the inside line to this corner and just basically forced themselves out of the way. And we have someone not cutting grass, but taking a scenic route around. That might be even a lap traffic looking at it. A lot of curb jumping for everyone through these corners. Even a time lost for Adam Sharp. And now that puts him under the pressure from the cars behind. And it's in these groups it's still all the same as Peck goes for another move yet again. The same move, and this time it has worked beautifully for him. Down the inside, onto the brakes of Rigel. Just a textbook move, gets the inside, gets the apex, does not leave any room for the other car to breathe. In upper position goes the 991 machine. He sets his sight now onto Adam Sharp. Maybe Sharp might make another mistake again. We shall see. Although, speaking of mistakes, Peck makes a big mistake, big one. Going off track into the gravel, that gives opportunity to Rigel, but he just cannot get the car turned in on the outside. Peck, even though he ran wide, had enough of a grip in those tires. So he's managed to just hold on to dear life. Yeah, you can see everyone at this one just pushing as hard as they can, testing the track limits and how much they can push them. Oh, and that's gonna be a tough one for Adam Sharp. A jump through the chicane, and it has been rewarded with a one-way ticket to the pit lane. And the trip to the stewards that will be. But I'm more interested about Rigel, because what looked like Petr Peck has just lost the car while jumping over the curbs. And you know, that's a classic sight around here. As we have seen multiple times. And yeah, they can unsettle the car really easily. Back towards our middle-aged resident driver. Mad Al currently chasing down RWB Godzilla, and Mad Al has been going rather strong this race, both of them in the top 10 right now, although both still yet to go into the pit lane, and you would expect them to go there really soon at this point, with half an hour remaining. There's not gonna be much fuel in the tank of those Aston Martins. But looks like Al has just a little bit more in the tank of a pace. He's now onto the rear wing of Godzilla and chasing him rather strongly around the circuit. And trying to maybe find that a little bit, find that way to squeeze by the Godzilla. But he's just holding on very nicely right now. Here will be side-by-side action, maybe. Maybe it looked like he had the opportunity there over Jack Camoletto, but he just had to back out in the end, around the outside after the first chicane. The car is not gonna be as grippy through there. But he isn't currently pressuring the 113 of Jack Camoletto for almost the top 10 positions. There is Door in front of them who has already been in the pit lane. Everyone has been. But there are still some cars we are waiting as and Simcox now is in the pit lane. This time it seems like it is actually a scheduled stop for him. Let's look at this newcomer. He's been chasing Camoletto for a position, but now Lemke has closed them down. And he has been closing them down ever since he got past Emil Sjöblom and that big group. Now Jack Camoletto has got a slightly better run onto the straight. Still defends the place from Nate Newcomer, but how long can he hold on? You have these drivers, the ones that are like a brick wall. You just cannot get past no matter what you do. They are the personalities that are able to just hold on, soak up the pressure. And they are just not gonna let go as Charger there in front is letting the faster cars go. They will definitely have to let go this group by. But now to the outside goes Newcomer, tries to maybe get a better run out of the corner. Camoletto holds on to everything, and now where does he choose to go? So you have a lapped car in front of him, and this might be the opportunity Newcomer needs. He's literally just pushing Aston Martin through the braking zone. And maybe seeing the opportunity of a lapped car. Let's see, Charger goes into the middle of the track, goes back onto the racing line. Does not seem like Charger is there to just be easily passed, but now lets the group go. Does not seem like no one was hurt or no one had gained anything significant out of that. So this back only to the skill of the drivers, and Newcomer looks to have the pace. Looks to be faster than Camoletto, but he needs that little bit of strength, a little bit of more persuasion towards Camoletto in front of him. Now just tries to show the nose into the chicane, but no. He decides to just maybe wait for the opportunity. An opportunity might arise right now, as we found them. Yet again, same move, but cannot get enough speed going through the left-hander. The cars don't have enough grip, or rather, should say, downforce. They somehow barely managed to go through that corner on their own. And maybe trying to go side by side through there, that's not gonna work out rather easily, no? And still this trio continues to just roam around. But I think Sergio Lemke has something to say about this. Definitely faster than both of them. And I think he might be able to get by. He's been rather there, but has closed them fast. That gap that was there. Maybe the opportunity that is gonna be there is gonna be easier for him when the car in front of newcomer just has to take notice of the other one, not you that much. How this newcomer looks to the inside, but does not have the balls to just shoot the car down inside of here. Both of them heavily over the curbs. As I said, this gives the opportunity to Sergio Lemke, who now draws alongside of the newcomer. But it's just how the track goes and how the cars are built, it just does not have enough of a downforce, enough of grip to just hold on around the outside through there. It just has to stay behind and keep looking, keep working harder and harder to just get something out of it. And they are still going at it, still side by side. Newcomer tries to switch back line, maybe trying to put Cavaletto on the wrong side, but the Cavaletto still manages to put the Aston Martin just into the right space, so he has the line and he has the corner, but now maybe there will be a slight opportunity. This Cavaletto has been forced to the outside and newcomer nicely just slides down the inside, and what does Sergio Rafael Lemke do right now? He has two cars in front of him that are just a wall. So he tries to maybe force Cavaletto to open up the gap. But he sees that Cavaletto is not gonna move and sensibly just has to stay behind. Now maybe there would be a dive opportunity to here. We saw the also others tried around there. But Sergio probably not believing his brakes strongly enough to try something. And as they have all been following each other slowly, Raichu has closed them down. And is almost there with the fight, you know, the gap about 2 seconds-ish, 1.8. And it's going down. Raichu is definitely closing them up as another lapped car will be in the way. But hopefully they just move out of the way and let the faster cars do their thing. Well, as we go, look at ammo plate, and we just spot FX going a little bit slidely on the exit of the corner. And we are looking on ammo plate that is currently under a little bit of pressure from Bolanos behind, Carlos Bolanos. Really close under the rear wing almost of the ammo plate. This would definitely be a fight for the positions around P5. They definitely net P5 for one of them maybe. As we still have Madal and Godzilla in front of them who have not been in a pit lane. So is our leader Jake Moore and Jurgen Roiling, and I think that the pit stop is mandatory. Yeah. Well, it is not. I don't think that they can do hour 40 on a full tank of the car. At least it does not look like the fastest strategy to go around. Or maybe I'm wrong and they just know how to save fuel to the maximum without losing too much of the time. So that could be the way that they decided to go. But now to Emil Sjöblom, after his pit stop, he has been holding on Peter Break. He has been holding him up for quite some time. As Godzilla finally comes into the pit lane, confirming that probably they are not gonna go until the end on one fuel tank. But it will be just a small splash and dash for him, trying to get out of the pit lane as fast as possible. But Beck has found his way out, or up in front of Sjöblom, although Emil has not fallen too far behind him, still within the second of him. But then it's Daniel Barnett who has been slowly closing up again. Because the tires on Emil's car probably not in the best shape. Here we have Iron Sim Cox, someone who we have not seen much throughout this race. I has just been going about of his business, being the silent guy around there. Not many things happening around you, but you still get quite a good result. And that will be the top 20 positions for him. Behind Adam Sharp, maybe hoping to just jump him and get up into P18. There's also the Sieu and the 543 car. He's not that far in front. Might be their next target. Currently, Adam Sharp is the first one on the chopping block, the first to try and get past in front of Odin Suen. Meanwhile, we still here have our leader 55 laps strong. And still no sign of him slowing down or letting a little bit off. With a huge gap of about 25-24 seconds back towards Zero and Roiling, and it looks like Jake Moore could make it till the end, but probably we'll have to see him at some point in the pit lane. That's basically given. But with so little time remaining in the race, just starting to wonder if he has saved the fuel to just go. But also a great drive right now from Jeroen Roiling and Ollie Kirten. As we saw, Rigel slowing down a little bit there. Let's just jump back, maybe we can see what has happened. As he's going. He's been letting someone through. I think that's Roiling that has been passing them and lapping the car. Yeah, that's the P2 of Jeroen Roiling, so because I saw Rigel just all of a sudden lose all of the gap that he had to the car in front of him. So that was just Jeroen making his way around. And somehow after his pit stop, Emma Plate has found himself under the rear wing of Mad Al, so Mad Al still with the no pit stop strategy going quite good in the top 5. It'll be interesting to see how much of a fight he puts out to Emo Plate right now. Emo definitely has the speed, he's the faster driver of these two. You never have to just pull away and let the other car by, even though you are on a different strategy, although it's the courtesy of others to just not fight if they don't have to. Emo Plate just shows the nose. Tries to only just look like he is going to attack. Maybe now into the chicane he pulls out. To the inside he goes, but not alongside enough for him to make a move. As Jake Moore now goes into the pit lane. Yeah, he's been going strong, should not lose the lead at this point. Only if Roiling has decided to carry on, but now also Roiling is now into the pit lane. So that just leaves Mad Al still the last one to come in and take the fuel. And he really has to be close at this point. Literally the car must be running on fumes and good words. But still, Everplay does not seem to have the inherent speed advantage. Nothing at least major, nothing big from his side. Would expect him to maybe get past Madal much faster than he is currently. So yeah, we are in Roiling currently going out to pit lane, and you could see Ollie Kirten, there he was. Just shooting through the corner and up into P2. So nothing has changed at the front even after the pit stops. Jake Moore, Ollie Kirten and Jeroen Roiling being the top 3 of this race currently. And in comes Mad Al, so that will be the final car that we are waiting for to come into the pit lane. And this gives clean air to a plate, and that's gonna be a lot of clean air. With the 10 minutes to go, probably Emo just about thinking about finishing the race and not doing anything stupid. Fight still going on strongly in the heart of the grid in the midfield. There is currently Daniel Barnett and Peter Peck going at it for P12. And there is something happening around here. Something has happened. That was Odin just going onto the rallycross style of the track. Yeah, just a small error, too much speed going through the corner, dipping the car into the gravel, and that's a position loss for him. That releases Adam Sharp up into P17. It should be rather calm remaining of the race for Sion, as Simcox is just about 3.5 seconds behind. That should be enough of a gap for the remainder of the race for him to just calmly finish. Most of the drivers have just spread out at this point. Everyone has found their little piece of the road. The closest fight that we'll probably have right now will be just these two, Patrick Peck and Daniel Barnett, for P11. Barnett looks like he wants to try to get past Petr Peck as soon as possible right now. Just showing the nose, trying to poke a little bit around. Peck goes for the defense into the final corner, although Barnett just swings the car to the other side, trying to scare his opponent as much as he can. But Peck is not taking the bait right now. Holds on currently for P11. So Barnett again goes down the inside, but it's only just a show off, trying to intimidate the opponent. Trying to maybe think of something that's gonna help you, but Beck has been going quite solidly for the race. But Barnett still has enough of a speed. He has the pace over Beck. Does not seem like the pace is gonna be enough with the remainder of the race. He is faster, but just slightly faster. That's not gonna help him as much as he needs. Again, into the same hairpin we go as the lap before. Barnett just pulling out a little bit to the side. But he will have to get a really good run through the chicane, through the middle chicane probably, to just get the run through the right-hander. Get a nice slingshot and maybe then he could dive down the inside into the hairpin. But even then it's gonna be a big opportunistic moment. But soon both of them will have other things to take care of as well. As the race leader Jake Moore is already closing them by, you can see him just flash through the screen. So they will have to pause the fight for a little bit, just allow the leader to get by. But ooh, that's a wild moment right there and there for Jake Moore. Taking the curb and just unsettling the car. This would be really bad timing for him to just throw the car away. With just 5 minutes to go, I don't think he really wants to just end up in the barrier. Probably he'll just have to calm down slightly and maybe even finish the race behind these two, who knows. You don't have to take any unnecessary risks. Well, looking at this, there's not gonna be much left for Barnett to think of if he wants this position. If he really wants to get by, he will need to get onto the back of Peck even closer really fast. There are just what looks to be 2 laps remaining for them. There's not gonna be many opportunities as Barnett just goes now really deep into the chicane. It just destroys all of the momentum that he had and destroys the run through the corner. Let's see what he maybe tries to do right now, but he does not have the inherent speed over. It's just more of a holding on to Peck at this point. And Peter is just doing the good work right now. Not doing anything stupid, not giving any chances to Barnett. Cannot think of something on his own. A little bit of mistake from Peck there as he catches a little bit of the curb, little bit of grass. And that gives the opportunity there for Barnett. Barnett maybe will have a look down inside the turn 1. Meanwhile, Petrovic, he almost lost the position. You could see Barnet just thinking of where is gonna be the best place to put the car. As I said, Peck does not need to do any mistakes. There it was, almost losing the position to the car behind, but somehow he managed to hold on. And I wonder what do they do right now, because Jake Moore is closely behind them, but I don't think he's gonna be too mad if he stays behind these two. The gap to the next car is 30 seconds, more or less. So, you know, Jake just has to stay where he is, not have to do anything, and let these two just battle it out. Again, into the hairpin. Barnet just tries to do anything that is in his powers, but it's just not close enough, although that was a slight mistake from Petrovic. Maybe better run for Barnet out of the hairpin in the chicane section, but he just has to stay behind. He tries to get closer on the brakes, but more about that later, as it is Jake Moore coming across the line to take the victory in the second race of the Clash of the Warriors. Another dominant victory by him yet again, not giving anyone even the smallest chance. And it's 2 out of 2 for this guy, and how are they gonna stop him? Solid performance yet again. It is also from Ollie Kirton. After a small mishap in the race before, keeps his nose clean and comes home in second place, closely followed by Jeren Royling. So is behind them RWB Tyrion, just crossing the line. And now we are just waiting for ammo plate. Meanwhile, Barnet still just about the second behind Peck, and does not seem like anything is gonna happen around these two. Unless there's some kind of a big mistake. So P5 with this 4 ammo plate. P6, Carlos Bolamos as it comes by. P7, quite a solid performance from Doe after the early problems. He manages to come back in top 10. Nate Newcomer in P8. There is Sergio Rafael Lemke in P9, and rounding out our top 10 will be RWB Rigel. And now we are just waiting for these two to come across the line, so nothing has happened on the final lap between them. And that will be it for the GT4 round of this championship. That was the race 2 of the Clash of the Warriors, and I will be definitely hoping to see more of these drivers next week. When we switch manufacturer, we've done 2 Aston Martin rounds, it will be now the 2 Porsche rounds with the GT3 and the GT4. And that will be all from me as well. If you enjoyed this, if you think you want to be part of this, remember to check our Discord with the link down below the video. Our website rwbracing.club. We're always looking for good people, fair people to go racing. And that's me out. Goodbye.